You, prison trash. Don't even deserve to wipe my boots. The dining hall freezes as Senator Harlan Voss leans over the table, whispering in Arabic to the waiter. Jamal Khalil grips the tray steady, but his eyes blaze. He replies in the same language, fluent. Senator, your boots are already soiled with secrets, I know. The air crackles. A career hangs by a thread. The scent of Cuban cigars hangs heavy, mingling with the aroma of aged wines from oak barrels. Glasses clink like distant bells echoing off the velvet-lined walls. The rough texture of Jamal's uniform contrasts with the guests' silk suits, cold as the sweat trickling down Voss's forehead. His hands tremble as he grabs his glass, while an aide swallows hard, eyes wide, sensing the weight of the silence settling like chill fog. The entire room holds its breath, expecting a fight or worse. But Jamal doesn't lash out in blind rage. His lips curve into a calculated smile, revealing he's no humble servant. He harbors years of anger, forged in dark cells, but Jamal wasn't there for a simple tip. He was there because that man, Voss, had destroyed his life 7 years ago, and now, revenge whispered its name. Lydia Grant, Voss's aide, forces a nervous laugh, clapping lightly because she hides an affair with him that could ruin her rising career. Marcus Haley, the fellow politician beside him, averts his gaze, clearing his throat because he knows of the bribes Voss shared with him, and any scandal would drag them both down. Vivian Voss, the wife at the table's edge, clutches her napkin until her knuckles whiten because she suspects her husband's secrets for years. An exposure would leave her alone with debts and shame. They all orbit the chaos, each with a mask about to fall. But this story didn't start in the hotel's glittering lights. It began 7 years ago when a police raid on Jamal's favela ended with him in cuffs, innocent, for a planted crime. That day, Voss, then a rising congressman, signed laws enabling selective arrests like his. The truth has layers: deep-rooted racism, dirty alliances, and a secret Jamal carried like an invisible scar, waiting for the right moment to bleed. To understand how Jamal got here, from waiter to living threat, you need to know 3 stories. The story from 7 years ago when police stormed his home. The story from 5 years ago in prison depths where he learned Arabic and survival. And the story from 6 months ago when he swore revenge seeing Voss on TV. It all began on a rainy night in the favela, sirens slicing the air like blades. If this explosive revelation has you hooked already, subscribe now and hit the bell. Don't miss the twists that change everything. Your justice journey starts here. 7 years before that tense dinner hall confrontation, Jamal Khalil wakes at dawn in his cramped apartment on the edge of the favela. The alarm buzzes at 5 a.m., pulling him from a thin mattress on the floor. He rises slowly, his broad shoulders marked by faded tattoos from his youth symbols of lost dreams, inked during wilder days. At 28, Jamal's face carries the weight of quiet determination, deep brown eyes that miss nothing, a jaw set firm from years of holding back words, and hands calloused from odd jobs. He splashes water on his face from a rusted sink, the cool drip echoing in the dim room lit by a single bulb. His home is a single space, peeling walls adorned with a faded photo of his mother, a stack of books on a rickety shelf, and a small stove where he brews strong coffee. Outside, the favela stirs, roosters crowing, distant horns blaring. Jamal dresses in faded jeans and a plain shirt, his movements precise, like a man who has learned to conserve energy for the battles ahead. In the neighborhood, Jamal is known as the steady one, the brother who shows up without fanfare. His core quality shines in loyalty. He'd walk miles to help a friend, even if it meant skipping a meal. Neighbors call him the fixer, the guy who mends leaks or mediates disputes with a calm voice that cuts through anger. But that reliability hides a flaw, a deep-seated distrust, born from too many broken promises. He questions motives, always scanning for the lie behind a smile. It's what kept him alive in rough streets, but it isolates him, turning potential allies into suspects. Women in the community admire his quiet strength, seeing in him a rare man who honors his word, yet they whisper he carries walls higher than the favela hills. Jamal knows this about himself. He feels the loneliness in quiet evenings, but he pushes it down, focusing on the day ahead. Jamal's backstory roots deep in loss that shaped his unyielding core. His mother, Aisha, an immigrant from a small Arab village, raised him and his sister Sophia alone after their father vanished in a border crossing gone wrong. She worked double shifts as a cleaner, her hands rough from chemicals, her stories of distant sands filling their nights. But cancer came swift when Jamal was 20, eating her away in a public hospital with no beds or pity. He watched her fade, holding her hand as she whispered in Arabic about resilience. Endure, my son, like the desert wind. Her death left a void, walls of grief that Jamal built high. He vowed to protect Sophia, but the pain lingers in nightmares, making him wary of vulnerability. That trauma forged emotional barriers. He avoids deep ties, fearing another loss, yet it fuels his drive to rise above the favela's pull. Deep down, Jamal harbors a dream that feels impossibly distant, to clear his name of the shadows that haunt him and build a life where his family thrives without fear. He wants to own a small cafe, a place where people like him can gather without judgment, a symbol of stability amid chaos. The physical emblem of this desire sits on his shelf, a tarnished silver locket from his mother, engraved with Arabic script meaning hope endures. He touches it daily, a ritual that grounds him. This longing isn't just ambition, it's redemption, a way to honor Aisha's memory by proving the world wrong about men like him. But in the favela's grind, it feels like chasing stars close enough to see, too far to grasp. That very morning, as Jamal steps out into the humid air thick with diesel fumes, he encounters Elena Ruiz for the first time. She's at the corner market, her silver hair tied back, haggling over fresh bread with the vendor. At 55 then, Elena moves with the poise of someone who's fought courtrooms and won. Jamal, carrying groceries for his sister, notices her drop a bag of oranges. He catches it midair, handing it back with a nod. "Careful, these streets don't forgive slips," he says, his voice low but warm. Elena looks up, her sharp green eyes assessing him. "Nor do they reward kindness without reason," she replies, a hint of a smile breaking her stern facade. They stand there amid the bustle, vendors shouting prices, children darting between legs, and something unspoken passes. Elena, retired from law after burnout, sees in Jamal a spark she once defended in clients. He sees in her a steadiness that mirrors his mother's. It's not instant fire, but a quiet recognition, like finding an ally in enemy territory. Their conversation stretches as Elena insists on buying him coffee from a nearby cart. They sit on plastic stools under a tarp awning, steam rising from styrofoam cups. "What brings a man like you out this early?" Elena asks, stirring sugar slowly. Jamal hesitates, then opens up slightly. "Family, work, the usual fight to keep ahead." She nods, her gaze steady. "I know that fight. Spent 30 years in courtrooms pulling people from the system's jaws, but it chews you up too." Jamal leans in, intrigued. "You win many?" "Enough to matter," she says. "But losing teaches more. Like how the law bends for the powerful." He shares a rare laugh. "Sounds like my world." Power's just another word for who holds the cards. Elena pauses, setting her cup down. "Maybe. Or maybe it's about learning the game." Jamal meets her eyes. "And if you've got no cards, you make your own," she counters firmly. Their words flow easy, revealing shared scars, her from corrupt cases, him from street survival. It's a connection built on mutual respect, the kind that hints at deeper bonds. By the end of that coffee, Elena offers Jamal her card. "If trouble finds you, call. I've got stories that might help." He pockets it thoughtfully. Later that week, trouble does knock. A landlord dispute over Sophia's rent. Jamal dials Elena, and she arrives at the rundown office, her presence alone shifting the dynamic. As the landlord backs down, Jamal pulls her aside. "Why help? You don't know me." Elena smiles faintly. "I know enough. And sometimes promises start with a hunch." He nods, sealing an unspoken pact. She guide him through legal mazes if he keeps her grounded in the real world. This decision, to trust her, carries weight, a bridge to the storms ahead where her wisdom becomes his shield. The world Jamal navigates is a stark divide between the favela's raw pulse and the polished heights of the city elite. In his neighborhood, life unfolds in a symphony of senses. The sizzle of street food vendors frying plantains over open flames, their spicy aroma cutting through the metallic tong of rain on corrugated roofs. Children's laughter mixes with the rumble of overcrowded buses, while laundry flaps like flags on lines strung between concrete hovels. The air hums with reggaeton beats from open windows, a rhythm that masks the undercurrent of tension. Police patrols idling at corners, their sirens a warning growl. Up in the city center where Jamal works odd jobs, the contrast bites. Marble lobbies gleam under chandeliers, the faint scent of expensive cologne lingering like privilege itself. Textures shift from gritty dirt paths to smooth leather seats in high rises, where air conditioning whispers cool indifference. Social hierarchy here is ironclad, a pyramid where the poor serve the powerful without question. At the top sit politicians like Voss, pulling strings from air-conditioned offices, their decisions rippling down like decrees from on high. Mid-level enforcers, cops, landlords, bosses police the lines, ensuring the favela stays contained. Jamal fits uneasily in the middle, a laborer by day, dreaming bigger but marked by his address. He slips into hotel kitchens undetected, his uniform a temporary camouflage, yet the stairs remind him he's an outsider. Rules of this world are unspoken but brutal. Keep your head down, don't question authority, and survival means navigating alliances carefully. For someone like Jamal, with his sharp mind and hidden depths, it's a cage disguised as opportunity. He endures, but the walls chafe, pushing him toward the edges where change brews. As weeks turn to months, subtle signs of brewing conflict flicker in Jamal's life, easy to dismiss in the daily grind. One evening, after a long shift hauling crates at a warehouse, Jamal overhears two workers muttering about a new anti-crime bill sponsored by rising congressman Harlan Voss. They say it'll clean up the streets, one says, wiping sweat. More like lock up anyone who looks suspicious. Jamal pauses, stacking boxes higher, but brushes it off. Politics feels distant, a game for suits far removed. Still, the name Voss sticks, a vague unease settling like dust. He mentions it casually to Elena over their now regular coffees. Heard of this Voss guy? She frowns, stirring her drink. Ambitious type, pushes hard lines on public safety. Watch him, men like that build careers on others' backs. Jamal nods, but life pulls him away. Sophia's birthday, a sick neighbor. The warning fades into routine. Then Voss appears, not in person, but invading Jamal's world through a flickering TV in the community center. It's election season, and Voss's face beams from a rally promising tough justice for criminals. His voice booms, "We'll protect our communities from the threats within." The crowd cheers on screen, but Jamal feels a chill. Voss's eyes, even through the pixelated feed, seem to pierce arrogant, unyielding. Sophia, watching beside him, squeezes his arm. He talks like we're all guilty till proven otherwise. Jamal changes the channel, forcing a smile. Just noise. We've got our own fights. Yet that night alone, he researches Voss online, discovering ties to police funding. It's a thread he tugs lightly, then lets go. Too big, too risky. Elena warns him again during a walk through the market. That bill, it's selective. Hits the poor hardest. Jamal listens, but optimism wins. He focuses on a job interview at an upscale hotel, seeing it as a step up. The last scene of Fragile Peace unfolds on a quiet Sunday, 6 months before the dinner hall storm. Jamal gathers Sophia and her young daughter Lila in their tiny kitchen, the aroma of Aisha's old recipe-spiced lamb stew filling the air. Laughter echoes as Lila draws pictures of a big house for Uncle Jamal. "You'll live there someday," she giggles, hugging his leg. Sophia watches with soft eyes, her own struggles with single motherhood eased by his presence. "You've kept us afloat," she says, passing him a bowl. He smiles genuinely, the locket around his neck catching the light. For a moment, the world outside fades. No raids, no Voss. They eat, share stories of better days. The clink of spoons, a gentle rhythm. Jamal feels whole, the dream of the cafe vivid in his mind. But as night falls, a news alert buzzes on his phone. Voss's bill passes, with whispers of more to come. He silences it, holding onto the peace, unaware it's the calm before the raid that will shatter everything. It was precisely this dream of justice for his family that would lead Jamal, 7 years later, to make the most dangerous decision of his life. 7 years after that fleeting Sunday peace, the storm breaks in the opulent dining hall of the Grand Meridian Hotel. It's election night, and Senator Harlan Voss holds court at a private table surrounded by donors and aides. Jamal Khalil, now 35, moves through the crowd with practiced grace, balancing trays of foie gras and champagne flutes. His uniform is crisp, but the weight of the past presses on him like an unseen chain. Voss, older now but no less commanding, spots Jamal approaching and waves him over with a dismissive flick. "You there, Refildus," Voss barks in English first. Then, leaning close, switches to Arabic, his voice a venomous hiss. "Prison scum like you should be back in your cell. Not pretending to serve civilized folk." The words land like a slap, laced with the casual racism Jamal has endured for years. But this time, it's personal. Voss's face, unchanged from the newsreels that haunted Jamal's prison nights, ignites a fire long banked. Jamal's heart hammers, a thunder in his chest that drowns the room's murmur. He sets the tray down slowly, his fingers steady despite the rage boiling beneath. Memories flood him. The raid 7 years ago, cuffs biting his wrists as Voss's bill justified the injustice. The lonely cells where he learned Arabic from Omar, trading stories for survival. Sophia's tears when he was taken, Lila too young to understand. His breath catches, hot and sharp, as if the air itself rejects him. Sweat beads on his brow. Not from fear, but from the effort to contain the storm years of swallowed slurs. Lost opportunities. The ache of proving himself worthy in a world that brands him guilty at birth. Voss's eyes narrow, expecting submission, but Jamal feels the fracture. This man who preaches law and order embodies the corruption that stole his freedom. The insult isn't just words. It's a mirror to the system that caged him. A reminder of Aisha's dying wish for endurance now twisted into fury. Jamal's vision blurs for a second, not with tears but with clarity. The moment to strike back has arrived, and the cost be damned. His pulse races, a drumbeat of reckoning, as the room fades to the edges of his focus. "You think Arabic hides your bigotry, Senator?" Jamal replies in flawless Arabic, his tone even cutting through the din like a blade. Voss freezes, his glass halfway to his lips, color draining from his face. The table falls silent. What did you say? Voss stammers in English, but Jamal presses on, switching back seamlessly. I said your secrets aren't safe in any language. The bribes, the planted evidence have heard it all. Donors shift uncomfortably, whispers rippling like wind through dry leaves. Lydia Grant chokes on her wine, eyes darting to Voss. Marcus Haley coughs, feigning interest in his phone. Vivian Voss's fork clatters against her plate, her gaze locked on her husband. The air thickens with shock. How does a waiter know this? Voss recovers with a forced laugh. Get out before I have you arrested for insolence. But the damage is done. The seed of doubt sprouts, witnesses etching the scene into memory. In the dim service corridor behind the kitchen, Jamal leans against the cool tile wall, breath ragged. His mind races. Was that wise? Exposure could drag Sophia and Lila into the crossfire, or worse, land him back in chains. Doubt gnaws. What if Voss's influence buries him deeper? He clenches his fists, nails digging into palms, the pain grounding him. Years of silence for this? He thinks, the internal war fierce. But staying quiet let him win. No more. Fear twists in his gut. Visions of prison bars closing again, but resolve hardens it to steel. It's like you can't run. Confronting Voss honors Aisha, protects his family from the same fate. Pulling out his phone, he texts Elena. It happened, Voss. Need advice. Her reply buzzes instantly. Come now. We're ending this. Jamal straightens, the decision settling like armor. He slips back into the hall, eyes scanning for the next move. He approaches the table again, tray in hand, but this time with purpose. Senator, a word in private? Voss sneers. Make it quick, boy. They step to a shadowed alcove away from prying eyes. Jamal lowers his voice. You remember the 2018 raid in Eastside? The one your bill greenlit? Voss stiffens. Irrelevant. Not to me. They planted the drugs. Your donors funded it. Voss's face twists. Lies from a convict. But Jamal sees the flicker fear. As they return, an aide pulls Voss aside, whispering urgently. Jamal overhears. Boss, that guy's got connections. Check his background. The complication hits. Voss signals security, a burly guard looming. You're done here, Voss snaps. Jamal backs away, heart pounding, but not before slipping a note into Lydia's hand coordinates for a meet. The seed is planted, but the garden turns hostile fast. The tension escalates as the evening wears on, Voss doubling down to save face. He stands, clinking his glass for attention. Folks, let's toast to real change, locking out the threats that plague our streets. Laughter erupts, but it's forced, eyes flicking to Jamal, who clears a nearby table. Voss shoots him a glare, then mutters to Marcus, loud enough. See? That's why we need tougher laws. Keep them in line. Marcus nods vigorously, but sweat glistens on his brow. Elena, whom Jamal had tipped off earlier, arrives disguised as a guest, slipping into the crowd. She corners Jamal near the bar. What did you say to him? Enough to rattle, Jamal whispers. But he's pushing back. Elena's eyes sharpen. Good. Push harder. She intervenes subtly, accidentally spilling wine on Marcus's lap, drawing him away. In the distraction, Jamal overhears Voss on his phone. Find out everything on that waiter. If he's trouble, make it stick. The stakes climb. Voss isn't retreating. He's arming for war. A micro-revelation cracks the facade as Jamal busses plates from Voss's table. He spots a crumpled receipt in the senator's jacket coordinates to a shady warehouse, matching ones Elena once mentioned in corruption cases. It's only 10% of the truth, but it confirms Voss's hand in rigged arrests. Elena pulls Jamal aside in the kitchen. That's leverage, but use it smart. Jamal nods, pocketing a photo snapped discreetly. The intervention works momentarily. Marcus, cornered by Elena, stammers excuses, but Voss circles back, his voice rising. You think you can intimidate me? I'll bury you like the criminal you are. The room hushes again, phones emerging to capture the drama. Jamal stands tall. Bury the truth. Try it. The conflict surges, natural as a rising tide, pulling everyone into its undertow. Jamal retreats to the employee lounge, pulse still racing, but curiosity drives him to dig deeper. He borrows a colleague's laptop, searching Voss's name alongside the 2018 raid. An old article pops up. Congressman Voss champions anti-crime initiative, but buried in comments. A whistleblower's post. Funds diverted to selective ops. Jamal's breath hitches. It's a thread to his own case. Then a flashback seizes him. 7 years ago, the raid's chaos replays in vivid bursts. Sirens wail as boots kick in the door, flashlights blinding. On the ground, officers shout, rifles trained. Jamal, shielding Sophia, feels the knee in his back. We had a dealer here when lies planting a bag. Boss's face flashes on a later news clip praising the successful bust. The memory stings. 100 words of raw recall. The metallic taste of fear. the concrete cold against his cheek, Sophia's scream echoing. Back in the present, stakes skyrocket. This isn't just personal. It's systemic. Voss's bill didn't just enable it, he profited. Jamal closes the laptop, resolve stealing. But as he exits, a hotel manager corners him. "You're fired," Voss complained. The small defeat lands hard, but in the loss, a spark. Time to fight dirty. The escalation peaks in a shadowed hallway confrontation. Jamal, bag in hand from his abrupt dismissal, blocks Voss's path to the exit. "Running already?" Voss sneers. "From what? A waiter's fantasy?" But Elena appears, phone in hand. "From the truth, Senator." "That warehouse?" "I know it." Voss pales. Jamal presses. "The raid." "My life. You signed off." A flicker of recognition crosses Voss's face, the micro-revelation from earlier blooms. "You were that East Side kid?" Impossible. But doubt creeps in. Marcus intervenes, pulling Voss away. "Let's go before this blows." The guard advances, but donors murmur, phones recording. Jamal stands firm, the first small victory in their hesitation. The defeat lingers in his unemployment. The stakes now life-altering. Expose Voss, or vanish into obscurity. The first dramatic turn explodes 20 minutes later as the party thins. Jamal, lingering in the lobby, receives a text from Lydia. "Meet me outside. I have proof." Heart pounding, he steps into the night, rain slicking the streets. Lydia waits under an awning, face drawn. Voss isn't just racist, he's dirty. That Arabic? He uses it for backroom deals with foreign donors. She hands him a USB drive. Recordings. But if he finds out, the revelation shifts everything. Jamal's fluency isn't chance. Omar, his prison mentor, was Voss's unwitting informant in a botched op. The viral moment hits when Lydia confesses, "He framed you to cover a bribe." Everyone reacts. Elena, arriving, gasps. A passerby overhears, tweeting the gist. Voss, spotting them from his limo, bellows, "Stop her." Chaos erupts. Security swarms. Lydia flees into the crowd. Jamal pockets the drive. Consequences cascade, cops are called. Voss spins it as harassment by a felon, but the tweet goes viral. Hashtag Senator Secrets trending. Jamal evades arrest by ducking into an alley, Alina covering his escape. The game is flipped. What was a personal slight now threatens an empire. But what Jamal didn't know was that the USB's hidden file would change everything. And in the days following, the greater complication would unfold. As the tension builds, pause and, like, if this touched you, tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. Seriously, I read every one and reply personally to those who take time to comment. In the dim glow of her modest living room, Sophia Khalil paces the worn carpet, phone clutched tight. It's been 2 days since the hotel incident, and the viral tweet has snowballed into a media frenzy. Reporters camp outside her apartment building, their cameras flashing like accusatory eyes. Sophia, at 32, feels the weight of it all, single mother to 8-year-old Lila, scraping by on a seamstress's wage. She glances at Lila, curled on the couch with a coloring book, oblivious to the storm. "Mama, why are there strangers outside?" Lila asks innocently. Sophia forces a smile. "Just nosy folks, baby." Draw something pretty, but inside, fear coils. Jamal's name is everywhere. Linked to Voss's scandal, and now Child Services knocks, questioning her fitness as a guardian. "Your brother's a felon," the social worker says flatly over the phone. "This could affect custody." Sophia's hands shake as she hangs up. This subtrauma, her fight for stability, mirrors Jamal's larger battle, both victims of a system that punishes the poor. She texts Jamal, "They're watching us." Lila's scared. Unbeknownst to her, this pressure will intersect with the main conflict. Voss, desperate to discredit Jamal, targets Sophia's custody case, using old raid files to paint the family as high risk. It's a parallel thread, weaving corruption into personal ruin, building toward a revelation that Voss's bribes once funded the very agency now threatening her home. Sophia sits, head in hands, whispering a prayer in Arabic. Aisha's words for endurance, unaware her struggle will provide the key evidence Jamal needs. Jamal arrives at Elena's door under cover of dusk, the USB from Lydia burning in his pocket. The older woman's apartment smells of chamomile tea and old law books, a sanctuary amid the chaos. Elena ushers him in, her face lined with worry. "Sit. Tell me everything." Jamal slumps into a chair, the events of the night spilling out, the insult, the confrontation, Lydia's confession. But as he speaks, the full backstory unravels, a deep trauma surfacing like a wound reopened. 7 years ago, the raid wasn't random. It was retaliation. Jamal had witnessed a cop shaking down a neighbor, pocketing cash, and reported it anonymously. Voss, tied to the precinct through campaign donations, quashed the complaint and framed Jamal to silence him. "They said I had drugs," Jamal recounts, voice cracking. But it was Voss's way of cleaning house. Alina listens, nodding. The vulnerability hits its peak. Jamal stands, pacing, monologo confessional pouring forth. I lost everything that night. Sophia alone with Lila on the way. Mom's locket my only anchor in that hellhole. Nights in solitary, wondering if I'd ever hold my niece. The beatings, the isolation. It broke me, Elena. Made me question if I was the criminal, they said. But I survived, learning Arabic from Omar, piecing together whispers of Voss's deals. It wasn't just prison. It was erasure. They wanted me gone, invisible. And now, I'm supposed to fight back without becoming what they fear? His words tumble, 120 raw sentences of confession, fists clenched, eyes glistening, not with self-pity, but raw acknowledgement of scars that shaped him. Elena rises, placing a hand on his shoulder. You didn't break, Jamal. You bent, like steel and fire. That's your power. Use it, not for hate, but justice. For Aisha, for Sophia. Her consolation grounds him, a maternal anchor, turning vulnerability into fuel. As they review the USB, Jamal straightens, the trauma not erased, but weaponized. Across town, in the senator's fortified office overlooking the city's skyline, Harlan Voss pours a scotch, the ice clinking against crystal like a countdown. At 58, his reflection in the window shows a man fraying at the edge, his graying temples, eyes shadowed by sleepless nights. He dials Marcus. Fix this, now. But as aides scramble, we shift to Voss's perspective, humanizing the monster without absolution. Voss wasn't born a bigot. He clawed from a working-class mill town. His father, a union buster who beat racism into him as tough love, survived by stepping on them, the old man growled, after Voss's first election loss. Now power is his armor, but it chafes. He stares at a photo of Vivian and their grown son, estranged after a scandal Voss buried. I did it for us, he mutters to the empty room. The motivation is genuine. Fear of falling back to poverty drives his corruption. The bribe's a ladder he can't descend. Yet humanizing him reveals cracks nights haunted by the raid he ordered. Not out of malice alone, but to protect his legacy. A complication arises. Voss has a valid point in his mind. That waiter? He's dangerous. Ex-cons relapse. It's statistics. He justifies the frame-up as necessary evil, ignoring the lives crushed. But doubt creeps as he watches the viral clip. Jamal's fluent retort unnerves him. A reminder that his Arabic deals with shady donors aren't as secret as thought. Lydia bursts in. Sir, the USB. It's missing files that could trace to you. Voss slams his glass down. Find her. And bury the waiter. The moral tangle deepens. His racism stems from inherited hate, but his empire rests on it, creating a foe in Jamal who mirrors the underdog he once was. Without excusing, we see the man behind the mask, desperate, cornered, plotting to strike first. The scandal's ripples spread like wildfire through social media and whispered halls of power. By morning, #Voss exposed trends, with netizens dissecting the hotel footage. Waiter schools racist senator in his own language. Comments flood. About time someone called out the elite. But judgment cuts both ways, trolls label. Jamal thug seeking revenge, dredging his record. Pressure mounts as a local news panel debates. Is Voss a villain or victim of a disgruntled ex-con? Hosts take sides, one sympathizing with Voss's tough stance on crime, another praising Jamal's poise. Rumors viralize. The waiter's Arabic? Terrorize? Voss's team spins it, releasing a statement. Harassment by a known felon. Sophia fields calls from reporters at work, her boss eyeing her warily. Keep your family drama out of here, he warns. Jamal, holed up at Elena's, scrolls the feeds, the weight crushing. Community divides, old neighbors rally with donations for his legal fund, but others distance, fearing association. Vivian Voss, in a tearful interview snippet, says, My husband is a good man under pressure. The public scrutiny isolates Jamal. Snaps at a supportive call from Sophia. This isn't just about me anymore. The external storm amplifies the internal one, turning personal vendetta into a societal trial where every like or share judges his worth. A new obstacle crashes in unannounced. Jamal's old prison contact, Omar, surfaces with a warning. Voss's people are digging. They found my old statements twisted to say you learned Arabic for shady reasons. The dilemma moral grips Jamal. Expose Omar's involvement in a past deal, risking his friend's deportation, or hold back and let Voss paint him as a threat. He's family from those cells, Jamal confides to Elena. But truth demands sacrifice. He attempts a solution, reaching out to Lydia for clarification on the USB, but she ghosts him, phone dead. Panic sets in as cops show at Elena's door. Routine check on Jamal's parole. They search, finding nothing, but the message lands. Voss is closing the net. The situation deteriorates sharply. Sophia loses her job, citing distraction, and Lila comes home crying from school bully. Jamal confronts his reflection. Fight smart or lose it all. The failed outreach leaves him cornered. Stakes personal and familial, forcing a reckoning with the cost of justice. At the 45-minute mark, as despair threatens to swallow him, The critical moment ignites. Elena bursts into the room waving a manila envelope. From an unexpected ally Marcus Halle, the revelation hits. Marcus, guilt-ridden by Voss's escalating threats. Leaked internal memos proving the senator diverted funds to frame ops like Jamal's, he said. I can't watch another innocent fall. Hope surges, genuine and electric. Jamal's eyes light up. The first real smile in days. Elena outlines a plan. We pair this with the USB, leaked to a trusted journalist. The turn reframes everything. What seemed like betrayal from allies was a web cracking from within. Jamal nods, renewed. For Mom, for all of us. The moment rekindles the fire, pulling him from the brink, as rain patters against the window like applause. But Jamal didn't know that Voss was already preparing the final trap, and in mere hours, everything would crumble. The trap springs shut in the dead of night, sirens wailing as police cars swarm Elena's quiet street. Jamal watches from the window, heart slamming against his ribs as officers pound on the door. Jamal Khalil, open up, we have a warrant. Elena's face pales, but she stands firm, whispering, hide the USB. Too late. They burst in, flashlights sweeping like predators. The lead detective, a stern woman with Voss's influence written in her badge, cuffs Jamal roughly. Parole violation. Assault on a public official. It's a lie. Fabricated from the hotel footage, twisted to show aggression. Elena protests. This is harassment, but they ignore her, dragging Jamal out into the flashing lights. Reporters tipped off. Capture it all headlines scream ex-con attack senator. Back to prison. The loss hits immediate. Freedom stripped in minutes. The USB seized as evidence. Sophia arrives in hysterics. Lila clinging to her leg as the car door slams on Jamal's face. Isolation descends like a shroud. He's alone again. Echoes of the old raid crashing back. The system reclaiming its prize. In the squad car, the visceral emotion overwhelms. Bile rises in his throat. Fists clenched against the mesh divider. Tears hot on his cheeks. Not of weakness, but rage at the injustice repeating. His body shakes, muscles taut from futile resistance, the metallic tong of cuffs biting skin. Sophia's scream fades behind. Lila's small hand waving goodbye. A knife twist in his gut. The drive to booking his torment streetlights blurring into bars. Each bump a reminder of lost years. Aisha's locket pressing cold against his chest. He gasps for air, the weight crushing. Everything crumbled. Job gone, family exposed, Voss victorious. The emotion raw, 180 words of it pulsing, sweat-soaked shirt clinging. Heart a wild animal caged, the suffocating certainty that one man's prejudice can erase a lifetime's fight. At the station, processed like meat, Jamal slumps in holding, the isolation complete. Whispers of Voss's orders from guards sealing his despair. Hours blur into a gray dawn in the county jail. Jamal confined to a stark cell with concrete walls that echo his isolation. No calls, no visitors. Voss's strings pull tight, labeling him a flight risk. Sophia tries to see him, but bureaucracy blocks her. Family of a violent offender? Denied. Lila draws pictures at home asking, when's Uncle coming back? The desespero deepens, Jamal staring at the ceiling, the void swallowing him. He thinks of Elena's apartment, now ransacked, her notes scattered like defeated hopes. Guards mock him. Back where you belong, huh? The solitude amplifies every regret. The viral moment that backfired. Lydia's disappearance. Marcus's half-hearted leak. No one reaches him. Even his public defender is delayed. Voss's allies stalling. The emotion visceral surges again. Chest tight, breaths shallow, fists pounding the thin mattress in silent fury. Sweat pools, the air stale with despair. His reflection in a polished bunk showing hollow eyes. 160 words of breakdown. The ache of Sophia's unanswered texts. Lila's future dimmed. Aisha's voice a ghost urging endurance he can't muster. He curls fetal, sobs racking. Not for pity, but the brutal truth that his fight might end here, buried under lies. In the depths of that isolation, Jamal confronts his own painful truth, the mirror he can't escape. Alone with his thoughts, the monologo interno erupts, a brutal reckoning. I thought I was smarter this time, he admits silently, voice in his head raw. But I rushed, exposed too soon, let ego drive the confrontation. Voss saw the weakness, my anger, and turned it against me. All those years building resilience, learning from Omar, trusting Elena ... wasted on a hot-headed slip. The recognition stings. His flaw, that deep distrust mixed with desperate hope, blinded him to the trap. I promised Sophia's protection, but now she's collateral. Lila will grow thinking her uncle's a criminal, just like they labeled me. 160 words of internal fracture. Waves of shame crash, body trembling, the cell spinning as gilt coils like chains. I failed, Mom. Her locket mocks me now. Hope turned to ash. Was the dream of justice just illusion? The system's designed for men like me to break, and I handed them the hammer. He punches the wall, knuckles splitting, blood warm, a physical echo of the emotional shatter. No exit looms. Voss's influence ensures a swift hearing, parole revoked, years added. The moment stretches, despair absolute, Jamal whispering to the shadows, what have I done? The truth lays him bare. His fight, noble as it was, stemmed from unhealed wounds, and now it dooms them all. No light pierces, only the grind of distant doors, sealing his lowest point. Buzzer sounds, and Elena appears at the visitor window. Her face gaunt but eyes fierce. The mentor's arrival a fragile lifeline. Cleared after hours of calls, she sits across the glass, voice steady through the intercom. Jamal, listen. This isn't over. He leans forward, hollow. It feels like it. They took everything. Elena nods, her wisdom cutting through. Remember Aisha's stories? The desert doesn't yield to storms. It waits them out. She recalls his value, forgotten in the pit. You're not the raid's victim anymore. You're the survivor who learned languages, built alliances. That fluency? It's your weapon, not their excuse. Jamal's eyes flicker, but Voss twisted it, then untwisted, she urges. I pulled strings. Your defender's en route, and Sophia's holding. She's stronger than you know. A parallel emerges from the subtrauma. Sophia's custody fight mirrors this. The social worker backing off after Elena's legal nudge, echoing Jamal's resilience. Like your sister refusing to fold, that's your blood. Plant the seed. When you get out, hit back with facts, not fury. Hope stirs faintly. A ember in ash. Jamal nods, gripping the receiver. For them, Elena smiles. Exactly. The system's cracks are where light gets in. Her words, a bomb, so possibility, turning the mentor's counsel into a quiet vow. By evening, the decision crystallizes in Jamal's mind. No turning back. Visiting hours end, but resolve ignites. He accepts the enormous cost, full exposure, risking deeper charges but freeing his name. In the cell, he mentally maps the action. Retrieve the USB through Elena's contacts. Leak to a journalist with ironclad ethics. No more half measures, he mutters. The plan details unfold. Elena sues for unlawful seizure, buys time. Sophia gathers family affidavits from the raid night. He preps testimony tying Voss's bill to the frame-up. The personal toll sinks in possible disbarment for Elena. Job loss for Sophia permanent. Lila's life uprooted, but he embraces it. Worth it, he whispers, touching the locket through his shirt. A montagium of preparation flashes, sketching timelines on scrap paper, reciting Arabic phrases for clarity, visualizing the courtroom stand. 80 words of it. Quick cuts in his mind. Lena filing papers, Sophia rallying neighbors, his voice steady in rehearsal. The definitive choice seals. Tomorrow's hearing, he'll demand a full investigation, consequences be damned. No regret shadows it, only purpose, forged in the nadir. And it was then that Jamal did what no one expected. He invoked his right to counsel and demanded Voss's testimony. The final confrontation was about to begin, and the stakes were total ruin or redemption. The hearing room buzzes with tension, fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows on the wooden benches. Jamal stands at the defense table, cuffs removed for the occasion, his posture unyielding despite the gaunt lines on his face. Elena flanks him, papers stacked like ammunition. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, bangs the gavel. Proceed with the motion to dismiss charges against Halil. Voss sits across the aisle, suit impeccable, but his eyes dart nervously. Reporters fill the back, cameras rolling. This is the showdown, Jamal's decisive action unfolding with clear purpose. He steps forward, voice steady. Your Honor, I demand Senator Voss's testimony. The charges stem from his fabrication. Gasps ripple. Voss leaps up. Objection. This is a parole hearing, not a circus. But the judge nods. Overruled. Senator, take the stand. Jamal's plan executes in layers. First, Elena presents the recovered USB, now in evidence bags, its files decrypted overnight. These recordings prove Voss orchestrated my client's 2018 arrest to cover bribes. The room erupts in murmurs. Jamal watches Voss mount the steps, hands clenched, the air thick with anticipation. Witnesses Sophia in the front row, Lila peeking from behind her, Elena's contacts from the precinct lean forward. Security tightens as Voss swears in, his face a mask cracking. Jamal's actions detail the assault. He signals Elena to cue the audio. A tinny voice emerging, Voss's own, haggling with donors. The raid? Handle it clean. Plant what you need. 220 words of precision. Jamal's gaze locks on Voss. unflinching as the playback loops, timestamps aligning with the raid date. Reporters scribble furiously, flashes popping. Sophia whispers to Lila, "See? Uncle's fighting." The resistance begins. Voss interrupts. "Fabricated. Deepfake tech." But forensics expert testifies next. Authentic, 99% match. Tension coils. Jamal's heart steady. Every step calculated to dismantle the empire brick by brick. The emotional core ignites in the direct confrontation. Voss and Jamal face to face under the courtroom's unforgiving glare. The judge clears the room for sidebar, but cameras linger outside. This is raw, unfiltered. Voss leans into the microphone, voice oily. "Mr. Khalil, you think a few tapes end me? You're a thug who got what he deserved." Jamal meets his eyes. The truth's long buried, surging forth in dialogue that crackles like lightning. "Deserved? You mean framed for seeing your cops steal? That Raider bill made it easy, Senator." "Planted drugs, my sister screaming, my life gone," Voss sneers. "Streets breed criminals, you fit the profile." Jamal's tone hardens, unflinching. "Profile? Or just skin too dark for your clean city?" "I learned Arabic in prison from a man you betrayed, Omar, your informant you left to rot. He taught me your language, your deals." Voss shifts, sweat beading. "Lies. I fight crime, protect people like my family." Jamal presses, voice rising. "Protect? By bribing judges, silencing witnesses? My mother died while I rotted cancer untreated because parole meant good behavior, not innocence. You stole that from us." Voss falters. "I had no choice. The donors demanded results. The admission slips. Raw. Results? Like funding raids on the poor to pad your campaign?" Jamal leans in. "Admit it. You're no savior. You're the threat." Voss whispers, desperate. "If this leaks, my son." Everything crumbles. Jamal's eyes flash. "Like you crumbled mine." Truth's out now. The exchange stretches, 280 words of pure dialogue. Pauses heavy. Voss's defense is shattering. Jamal's words a scalpel dissecting the bigotry. No shouts, just the weight of revelations. Racism laid bare. Corruption confessed in fragments. The caterpillar builds. Voss slumping. Jamal standing taller. The room's silence a thunderclap. Truth spoken, the air electric with release. Resolution cascades as the judge reconvenes the full court, the evidence mounting like a tide. Voss's team scrambles, but it's futile. The USB's files, corroborated by Marcus Hale's sworn affidavit delivered anonymously via Elena, seal the fate. Senator Voss faces charges of corruption, evidence tampering, and abuse of power, the judge declares, her gavel echoing finality. Cuffs click on Voss's wrists as marshals lead him away. He glares at Jamal, defeated. This isn't over, but it is federal agents swarm. Indictments flying for the bribes tied to foreign donors. The Arabic deals exposed in full. Justice manifests threefold: legal as Voss's bill unravels in legislative review, social as protests erupt outside, hashtag justice for Jamal trending globally, communities rallying against systemic racism, emotional as Jamal's name clears, the 2018 frame-up vacated in a swift hearing. Witnesses validate him. Sophia testifies tearfully. He protected us, always. Elena hugs him, post-verdict. You did it for Aisha. Subtraumas converge. Lydia, granted immunity, details the affair and cover-ups, her career salvaged in redemption. Omar, from hiding, emails thanks, his deportation halted by the scandal's spotlight. Jamal demonstrates growth, addressing the press outside. This isn't revenge, it's accountability. For every family like mine, no triumph gloat. Just quiet dignity. The once isolated man, now a beacon. The conflict's heart, racism's grip breaks, not with violence but unyielding truth. In the courthouse hallway, bathed in afternoon sun filtering through tall windows, the victory moment unfolds. Jamal emerges, free, Sophia rushing to embrace him, Lila leaping into his arms. "Uncle, you're a hero!" Cheers from supporters swell neighbors from the favela, Elena beaming proudly. "Told you, Ben, don't break." Jamal kneels to Lila's level, the locket glinting. "Heroes fight smart, kiddo. For you." Allies gather. A journalist shakes his hand. "Your story changes everything." Even Vivian Voss passes, head bowed. He brought this on himself. Voss, in custody across town. Exits the scene. Divorce papers filed. Son disowning him publicly. His legacy ash. The new normal dawns subtly. Jamal Fields offers for advocacy work. Sophia's custody secure. Elena planning a quiet retirement. He pauses on the steps, breathing deep. The air fresh, unburdened. No fanfare, just the quiet shift. From accused to exonerated, the weight lifted like fog burning off. Sensico defecamento warms. Threads tied. Amar's lesson. Aisha's hope. Voss's fall, leaving Jamal transformed. Ready for the cafe dream, but wiser in the world's sharp edges. But the story doesn't end with victory, because 6 months later, the long-term consequences still needed to be faced. 6 months after the courtroom gavel sealed Harlan Voss's downfall, the city skyline gleams brighter, at least to Jamal Khalil. Now 36, he stands in the doorway of his new cafe, Desert Hope, a cozy spot tucked into a revitalized favela corner. The aroma of fresh coffee and spiced pastries wafts out, drawing early customers, locals chatting over steaming mugs, their laughter filling the space once meant for shadows. Jamal's life has transformed. No more cramped apartments or odd jobs. The advocacy offers poured in post-scandal, funding this dream. He wears a simple apron now, sleeves rolled up over forearms marked by faded tattoos, his broad shoulders relaxed for the first time in years. The locket from Aisha dangles openly, a silver talisman on a chain touched absent-mindedly as he greets patrons. Sophia thrives nearby, promoted to supervisor at a design firm, her apartment upgraded with stable walls and Lila's room painted bright. Elena, retired fully, volunteers as a legal consultant for community cases, her silver hair a beacon at local meetings. The sub-traumas resolve in quiet arcs. Lydia Grant, post-immunity, started a whistleblower nonprofit, her ambition redirected to ethics training. Marcus Haley resigned in disgrace, now a low-key consultant haunted by what-ifs. Omar, Jamal's prison mentor, reunited with family after deportation blocks lifted, sending a grateful video call from abroad. Vivian Voss divorced Harlan swiftly, inheriting the house but channeling energy into quiet philanthropy. Her isolation turned to quiet reflection. Voss himself, isolated in a federal prison, appeals denied. His fortune seized for restitution visits from no one but lawyers. His once impeccable suits replaced by orange jumpsuits. The son, long estranged, changed his name publicly. Jamal's internal changes shine through actions. He mentors young men from the favela, teaching not just barista skills but resilience. His distrust softened into cautious trust. No longer scanning for lies, he builds hiring Sophia part-time, hosting Elena's legal workshops. The raid's scar remains, but it's a map now, guiding rather than chaining. Life pulses with purpose. Mornings open the cafe, afternoons advocate against bias laws. Evenings with family, the weight of 7 lost years redeemed in daily wins. Sunset filters through the cafe's large windows, casting a golden hue over the wooden tables where Jamal sits with Sophia and Lila. It's a symbolic scene, echoing the ATO1's tense dinner hall, but inverted warm light instead of chandeliers. Family laughter over clinking mugs rather than veiled threats. Jamal lifts Lila onto his lap, her small hands tracing the locket. "Tell me the story again, Uncle. The one about Grandma's hope." He smiles, voice steady. "She said endurance blooms like desert flowers after rain. Tough, but beautiful." Sophia leans in, eyes soft. "You lived it. From that night in the hotel to here, we all did." Jamal nods. The callback clear. No more whispered insults in Arabic, but fluent conversations in life itself. Voss thought he could break us, but we built instead. Lila giggles. "And the bad man? In his box?" "Yes, kiddo." Choices catch up. The dialogue, brief and warm, sums the journey, 60 words of heart. No melodrama, just genuine connection. The locket passed to Lila as a new emblem. Outside, the favela hums not with sirens, but street musicians, a poetic image of rebirth. Vines climbing the cafe walls like resilience taking root. The once divided community now a tapestry of shared stories. Jamal watches a young couple enter, ordering in accented English, the space a bridge between worlds. Emotion lingers, subtle, a quiet pride in his chest. The transformation complete, not flashy but profound, like dawn breaking over hills. As the evening deepens, the narration turns reflective, weaving Jamal's arc into a universal thread. Resilience against prejudice isn't a solo fight. It's the quiet revolution of those who refuse erasure. Jamal's story echoes for women who've shouldered invisible loads, raising families amid bias, enduring systems that question their worth, turning pain into platforms. Like Aisha's desert wind, it carves paths through stone, proving that one voice, amplified by truth, reshapes landscapes. The impact endures. Voss's fall sparked reforms, selective raids audited, communities empowered. For the audience, it's a reminder, your battles, seen or unseen, ripple outward, inspiring chains of change. Hope empowers, not through grand gestures, but persistent steps, lighting the way for others in the shadows. And you? Have you faced veiled prejudice at work where your experience was dismissed? Have you watched a loved one unjustly targeted by the system? Share your story in the comments below. Your words could be the encouragement another woman needs to speak up today. Let's build that support together. Subscribe for more tales of quiet strength. Hit like if this moved you. Next week, a mother's unbreakable bond against family betrayal. Remember, your voice, like Jamal's fluency, holds the power to freeze the unjust in their tracks. See you soon.